Alrighty everyone, welcome back. We are just a couple of months away from Star Wars Celebration 2023, which by the way takes place this April in London. That's going to be one of the biggest celebrations yet in the past couple of years. And we have, of course, John and Dave preparing to announce more things related to the roadmap, not just at Celebration, but also at D23. And let's not forget that the earnings call for quarter 4 of 2023 is also going to be a big deal for the existing roadmap. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the kind and great support. Now, the thing about John and Dave is that they're strictly focused on their work. They're not paying attention to what Kathleen Kennedy is doing other than finding a way to change their retcons that Kathleen Kennedy, Leslye Headland, and John Watts are doing with the Acolyte and Skeleton crew. So John and Dave, they have it in the back of their mind, but they're not focusing on every single thing that Kathleen Kennedy is doing. And that brings us to the subject of Kathleen Kennedy, and that actually brings us to the Acolyte series, and it's running into more problems as usual, and it's just sad to see a show that could have had so much potential that is now just going through a spiral of problematic situations after the other. So, given that there is a lot of test footage that has been supplied by Kathleen Kennedy to the Disney higher-ups this past week, scene by scene, episode by episode, it's not looking so good so far. The higher-ups, the board members, aka of course, are very disappointed, very much reluctant on releasing the series, and they're really not getting a lot of confidence in the show, and that's a big problem. That's not something that you want to know about when it comes to the Acolyte. However, when it all dwindles down to this scenario, with both Disney and Lucasfilm preparing to develop new Star Wars TV shows that will be announced later this year, creators John and Dave Filoni are getting ready to reveal new plans for their roadmap. Now further, it's noted, however, that the Acolyte series is currently going through many issues. It's described that as of now, Disney higher-ups are forcing Kathleen Kennedy to delete and cancel all Old Republic flashback scenes, or at a minimum, deleting around 90% of them for the Acolyte show. Both Kathy and Leslye Headland had shot a total of 10 Old Republic flashback scenes for the Acolyte series that consisted of appearances of many Sith Lords that were described as both new and some of which characters from Legends that were heavily altered that Disney knew would anger fans. So let's just kind of put things more simple here. Kathleen Kennedy, for these Old Republic flashbacks, she added in new characters, which, okay, I can be somewhat alright with that. What I'm not okay with at all is how what she did with the Old Republic characters in these flashbacks is that she actually used some of the popular ones and completely altered them. We're talking about characters most likely like Revan, Malgus, characters at that status. I'm not quite sure if those were the known characters that she changed, but they were said to be very top-of-the-line characters of the Old Republic that were heavily altered. Now, this actually worried Disney. This sent Disney into a very worrisome state about how the fans would react, and, well, they had to put metal to the, a pedal to the metal here and just move things forward and just say, let's do away with these scenes and just put them in the trash. And they did. They're forcing Kathleen Kennedy to delete most of these Old Republic flashbacks, except for the one specific one that added in brand new characters, right? So that is something that is to be expected from Kathleen Kennedy. I'm not surprised in the slightest. She's all about really kind of going against the fans, not really living up to their expectations, and just betraying the fans and George Lucas. That's always what seems to happen with Kathleen Kennedy, of course. Now, that brings us to the next big thing here, is exactly how this actually was going to be executed. Now, this is all going to be done in different episodes. As you all know, the Acolyte series, as of now, is going to be 8 episodes long, just like the Mandalorian shows. And initially, it was supposed to be 12 whole episodes. We'll tap into that in just a second. But they cut down on the number of episodes because there was a lot of filler in there, a lot of filler episodes that really were not meeting any portion of the story, and they knew it was going to be a drag for fans. Now, again, like I say, the Acolyte does have a very high budget. Disney poured a lot of money into this thing, and they're losing money now by getting rid of all these scenes, doing all these reshoots, hiring new creatives to come on board, all the like. So, on top of that, these flashbacks have since been called by Disney to be deleted and maybe only leaving one, like I said before, of them that included brand new characters only. Now, this comes after Kennedy demonstrated more test footage to Bob Iger and the board, and got a very bad flow of feedback from everyone, and was demanded to take most of these scenes out, which is drastically cutting down the running times of episodes 4, 7, and 8, all of which contained Old Republic flashbacks. Headland is actually now scrambling on how to add in some other scenes to boost the running time of those episodes that cut down sharply. Before this turned into an 8-episode series, it was supposed to be 12, long until they demanded to lower the budget of the show. Now, deleting these flashbacks is said to have cost Disney a roughly $7 million total, and that it's seen as a big loss for the Acolyte. Now, given that each episode, guys, roughly cost Disney around $15 million for the Acolyte series, this is a big chunk of money that they just lost on the production of the Acolyte, and basically now they have to put in more money to do some reshoots and to fill in the gaps. I'm not quite sure if this series is really going to even release in spring of 2024 at this point. It's going through a lot of setbacks, a lot of delays, and let's face it, I mean, they're still filming this thing, and, post-production is slated to take at least a year. So even if they finish by next month, or maybe even in, let's say, April, late April, the latest, you're still looking at a very slim chance of getting this out by spring of 2024. It's going to look more like a summer release to me, and I think that it could even be longer than that, depending on what delays they face. So overall, the next big thing is this, alright? We know that Kathleen Kennedy completely betrayed George Lucas on The Acolyte. I don't know if you guys were in the loop, but we talked about this about 2 weeks ago, that The Acolyte actually had George Lucas as an advisor in the very beginning, where he and Kathleen Kennedy agreed to do certain sequences in the show, certain callbacks, certain flashbacks, and stuff around those lines, all of which got deleted by Kathleen Kennedy. That was her call. And Disney wasn't too fond of that at the beginning. They were very annoyed about that. That was like their first red flag about how underwhelming The Acolyte may very well be to the fans, and that's when they got John and Dave on board to help fix some of the scenes until they left, because of the high, toxic environment and all the drama that was going on. Same exact thing for Skeleton Crew. So, it's a very, tough time, without a doubt, for those two shows. I think that Skeleton Crew, even though it had more drama, it's in a better production state than The Acolyte. That's going through a lot of situations right now that are not positive in the slightest. So, anyways, guys, like I say, at the end of the day, the Acolyte series on paper may sound very exciting, but look who's running the show. You got Kathy and Leslie ripping things apart. So anyways, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you guys have to say about all of this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.